Hey guys, welcome back to another week's episode in the kitchen. This week we're doing a southern recipe of kind of like a soul food, comfort food type thing. Smothered pork chops. We'll serve mashed potatoes and spinach on the side. So let me get things prepped and ready to go, and we'll get started. Back in a moment. Alright, first off we're going to make the flour dust. I like to do about a cup of flour. About that much. We're not really going to do a wash or anything, just flour dust. And then you want to do garlic powder. I want to do about a tablespoon of that. Maybe just a hair more. That's about a tablespoon. Half tablespoon of kosher salt. There we go. About a tablespoon of onion powder. About a teaspoon of black pepper. And about a half tablespoon of smoked paprika. There we go. And also you want to add some thyme. Sorry, it took me a moment to open that. Say about that much. That's about a tablespoon right there. And then parsley. Sorry, I have a new container, so it might take me a moment to get the container open. Definitely not the easiest container to open one-handed. I had to break the seal on that. You want to go generous on your parsley. There we go. Alright, so let me get a fork. We can mix all that up. Now remember, after you dust your pork chops, you want to let them sit for a few moments. You definitely want enough seasoning in your flour that you can see the seasoning. And also we're going to keep the flour to actually make the smothering, the gravy. Make sure you blend it real well. All right. So we'll set that fork off the side. And what I have is pork cutlets. These are boneless center cut pork chops. With the smothered ones, you can do bone in if you want, but it's a lot easier to eat if you do bone out. If I can get the container open. So, one at a time, you want to take your pork chops, go ahead and dust them real well, even around the edges. Again, we're not egg washing these at all. We're just making sure they're well covered. And you're going to want to let them sit for at least about 10 minutes or so. That's enough time to get the stove top warmed up and get your pan warmed up. So once I get done with these and we get the pan warmed up, we'll be right back. So I have a pan heated up to about medium low. I'm going to put about a quarter cup of butter. Let that simmer down a bit. So about a tablespoon of minced garlic in there. Alright, so we'll go ahead and throw the pork chops in. You want to go about 5 minutes each side. So let me cook these for a while and then we'll be back when they're done. Alright, so they cooked a little quicker than I thought. It was about 3 minutes on one side and 2 minutes on the other. You don't want to overcook them and make them tough. And they're going to residual cook here in a moment once we make the actual smothering, the gravy. So right now, with all your drippings in the pan, I have cut up one small onion. We'll go ahead and toss that in there. Right now I have the oven warmed up to about 175. Alright, now that's over with. It's warmed up to 175. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and break up the onions here. Don't worry about breaking them up too much. They will end up breaking up when you cook them. You want to julienne them real thin and let them cook down till they're real soft. So we'll go ahead and let this go on for a little bit, and we'll be back in just a moment. Alright, the onions are about soft enough. I'm melting in another 3 or 4 tablespoons of butter. And I went ahead and added probably about a half teaspoon of pepper. We'll go ahead and add some parsley to it. Like I said, you want to be generous with the parsley. I'm going to do about a teaspoon and a half. Let that simmer in for a little bit. Now the butter is well melted. We'll start adding some of the leftover dusting flour. You don't want to put too much in, just kind of do a little bit at a time and make a nice roux. So about that much right there at first. Give it a good stir until it thickens up. Add more if you want. It depends on how thick you really want it. You don't want to add too much at one time and just let it get away from you. Remember, we add all that seasoning in there, so all the seasoning is going back into the gravy. Do enough until you get all the butter soaked up into it. Just a hair more. There we go. Alright, so at this point, you want to go ahead and add enough chicken stock to come up to about just above the onions. Say about that much. You don't want to add too much. Give it a good stir. You mix that flour into it. Now it's going to end up really thick in the moment, and we're fixing to fix that right now. And the reason why I didn't add that much chicken stock is because we're going to actually finish it off with beer. At least a half a bottle of beer for right now. Until we get the desired thickness. Let me go ahead and drop the temperature of this before it gets away from me. Alright, so you go ahead and add your beer to it. That's about a half a bottle. Keep stirring it until it well mixes in. And just kind of add more and more liquids to it till it gets to just the right thickness. Viscosity, however you want to say it. So yeah, turn it over every once in a while. Get your spoon up under it, turn it over. Give it a good stir. Add a little bit more. You may end up using a whole bottle, which is perfectly fine. I mean, if you don't, you can always finish it off yourself. See, it's starting to thin out now. I'm going to bring the temperature up a hair more to get it back up the temperature. So once I get to where I need to, we'll be back in just a few moments. Alright, so the gravy is up to the right consistency. You want it a little runny, but you also want it a little thick. Because in the oven, it's going to thicken up a little bit. And you're going to put it in the oven until you get everything else done. Whatever sides and stuff you need. That just gives it time to finish up cooking. So you want to go ahead and put your pork chops back in the gravy. There we go. And you want to take your drippings from the plate, go ahead and pour those in. Give the pork chops a good covering. And go ahead and throw it in the oven. Like I said, 175, and you can let them cook in there until you're done with all the rest of the sides. So we'll be back in just a bit. Alright, dinner's ready. Again, chives and sour cream mashed potatoes with some cheese melted in, some butter. Spinach, chopped spinach, seasoned with a little bit of salt and a little bit of hot sauce. And of course, smothered pork chops. We'll go ahead and serve this up. And take pictures of it. I apologize, ran out of breath there for a second. So let me go ahead and serve it up, take pictures of it. And if you like what you saw, please leave a thumbs up. As always, if you try any of my recipes, let me know how they turn out. And until next week, have a great weekend, a great week, and bon appetit. We'll see you.